All right, there we go. Welcome to Town Hall Meeting number 86. It's February 20th, 2024. And today we're joined by Sharon, Judith, Vanessa, William, Walter, Guillermo, Franklin, Esse, and Mikasa. Thank you all very much for being here. As you can see on the screen, it's a little agenda. We start off with a couple of mentions, and then I want to talk about the core contributors. We have a list, pretty much. And after that, I want to touch on BGI-24 and some practical scheduling connected to that, because a couple of people will be off, and yeah, just want to check in on how we deal with that. And after that, there's room for open topics. Then before we actually dive in, a quick reminder on what the ambassador program even is and what we do. Basically, it's a group of people that all care about the mission and vision of SingularityNet Foundation and want to contribute to its growth. We do this in a whole bunch of self-organizing work groups, which are open to join for anyone. Yeah, if you're interested in joining in on the fun, do hop onto our Discord server. You'll find a Getting Started channel there, and that will help you to get started. Then, before getting to the meat of today's call, a couple of quick mentions. Tomorrow at 17 UTC, we'll have the second Supervisory Council Community Workshop. This will be led by Grace Rahmani. And it's a continuation of the session we had the previous town hall. Then on Thursday, it's both 12 UTC and 17 UTC. There's the final two of the pre-BGI weekly fireside chats. Sharon is here in the room. He will be on. And let me quickly try and remember who's going to be on for this sessions. Sharon, may I put you on the spot and ask who are the guests? Sorry for that.
You ask me at the guest for tomorrow?
Well, Thursday. Yes.
For Thursday, yeah, it's Thursday. I'm always mixing dates. 12 p.m. UTC, it's a Juvail AI.
Yes. Jasmine Smith, CEO of Juve.
Yes, exactly. And 5 p.m., it's my friend, she's from the UN, Educational Environmental Special Unit, Special Forces for the UN, yeah, something. I can give you the Hamza. He has the exact title. I gave him. I shared a title. Thanks.
Okay. Oh, it will also be shared on tweets with full details.
Yeah.
Cool. Looking forward to that. And then on Thursday at 19 UTC. Thursday is always a busy day with community calls. During the Deep Funding Town Hall, there's continuation of the conversation on partnerships that was had during the focus group listening session last week. And yeah, I think that covers. Any shout outs to events this week I'm skipping on that others want to throw in there? Because you can, if you want. All right. Then for the first big topic of today, as you can see on screen, we have compiled a list of 30 people based on the parameters we agreed upon, being over the past 6 months, 12 hours of tasks rewarded with AGIX tokens. And I put the numbers the wrong way around on the slide, I believe. And 6 hours of AGIX rewarded and 12 hours of participation, so non-AGIX rewarded. I'm not making this up on the spot. This is agreed upon. You know, as a token of appreciation, we can all read, but I will call out all the names because you're awesome people, pretty much. So yeah, for the initial list of core contributors, we ended up with Rohan Kaboti, Agus Redsdow, Andre Diamond, Kelly from Olin, Cardano Klaas, CJ Frankie, Devin Hardy, Emaden, Flyer Fools, Guillermo Lucero, Head Elf, Hogan Tuso, Judith W, Karim, Kenichi, Lady Tempest, Lily Cupcake, Lloyd Gizzy, Malik, Major DeFi, Mikasa, Osmium, myself, Pure Relativity, Slate, Stephen Whitenstall, Sugar and Spice, Devil Sucks, UBOD, and Waka. So, first of all, thanks. It takes effort to be on this list. It's not just a random collection of people. These are all people that contributed over the past half a year. So yeah, first and foremost, thanks a lot for that. And well, let me hop on one slide further. I can hop back to this list. I will also, after the tunnel, I will make a post basically tagging everybody. So also the people that are on this list but are not in this call are aware of them qualifying. Something to note here would be that it's an opt-in thing. Like, we're not putting you on the spot like, you are a core contributor, now you have to make decisions or vote or stuff like that. It's opt-in. If you don't want to be considered a core contributor, that's completely fine. Let me admit waiting room. And yeah, something to consider there is that there's also this list is compiled by looking at database output, basically, of what we've tracked on chain of contributions. And there's room for manual additions. The database is not perfect. We try to capture everything as well as we can. However, it's just not perfect. And that was a clear feedback in the initial stages of figuring out this list. Please leave room for manual additions. And yeah, we'll do that naturally. So there's going to be 1 week of room for this, for everybody to be able to, see their notifications and if they have suggestions on people who are not on the list. I think we should try to be lenient here. This is only the very first time we're doing this, and I'd rather have the list too long than too short, right? Would rather have people being involved with governance than being left out of governance. Vanessa, you have your hand up. Go for it.
Yeah, I was just wondering, have we thought how people opt in? What do they do? Just post in Discord or?
Pretty much. I will make a list calling this out. Basically, this list it's based on on-chain data, right? So it's kind of public information. If people didn't want their nickname to be on here, they should have chosen a different nickname while contributing. So I will post this list, and then people can simply DM me if they. That's actually interesting. If whether to make it opt-in or opt-out. I don't mind getting DMs from everybody. At the same time, it might be a bit simpler to have people object if they don't want to be in it. Open to suggestions there. Any thoughts? Should it be opt-in or out?
What, me? I don't know. I think it's probably always good to go for opt-in in something like this, but maybe we try that, and if you've not heard from everybody, then we change. I don't know. Yeah, it feels like it would be better to have it that people have to explicitly opt in. Even though opting out would be easier, it's not about easiness, it's kind of about governance praxis, and it just feels like that is the better way to assure ourselves that people are doing it voluntarily.
Fair enough. And yeah, I don't mind doing that at all. So yeah, let's go for opt-in in this way. Some more people joining in. Thank you very much for being here. All right, so we'll do opt-in. Basically, I call everybody out, and then it's a bit tricky. I figured it would be better to ask for people to DM me their preference on being included or not, rather than have it out in the public. Because agreeing with being on this is fine in a public setting. If you don't want to be it might be a bit weird to call that out on a public forum. So I think there that DMing makes some sense, but also open to other suggestions if there are any. Yeah, so basically the idea would be to leave 1 week, so until the next town hall, for additional people. You can either nominate yourself if you feel like I should be on this list. I'm not sure what happened, but I definitely should be on there. Do speak up, no shame in that. Alternatively, if you feel somebody else should be on there, same thing, do speak up. I would rather, again, have this list too long than too short. Then, yeah, basically after people have opted in, I'll give everybody the core contributor role on Discord. And that brings the next point, actually, and something I want to ask the room on. In a way, this creates like a group of people that can have governance power, right? So that brings the question like how to deal with this. Do we make a channel which only people with the core contributor role can access? Should it be a public channel? I think looking in how we deal with things in general, we might very well be going with a public channel. But then in theory, we could also allow, for example, only the people with the role to be able to write in that channel. Or we could just, yeah, there's like a couple of options. So I figured let's have some thoughts from the town hall on this. So feel free to speak up if you think it should be public, if you think it should be private, should be potentially read only for non-members or people without the role, or should we just see where we go?
I don't know entirely, but I think the only thing I would say is definitely not private. Whether it's read only or everybody can comment, I'm not sure. But I do think that if everybody could comment in the channel, then that's a way that they can build up to becoming a core contributor themselves. So if main discussions are going on there, it's good to hear from everyone. I thought.
Yeah, very fair. Tommy, welcome. You have your hand up.
I apologize, I got here late. So I don't know that I'm up on all the nuances of this conversation. But I would think transparency is important. So I think public is also important for that transparency reason. Other than that, the nuances, if someone just wants to be and I don't want to mean just but say they just want to do translations and they're a core contributor. If they don't want to be public about it, let them, let people remove themselves from the public list or the core contributor list. Because as you say, it does have governance overtones. And for that, I think we need to know people are real, are alive, and that needs to be transparent in my opinion.
Yeah, quite strongly agreed there from my side. But if there's people having other opinions, please do speak up. Yeah, I can, unless there's hands up. So the reason I put the read-only channel there, for example, was like I was thinking about how to do it, and by default, I think we all feel like transparency should be leading, and then yeah, it should be there for a public channel.
I don't know if the person can talk, but Hovind Tuso said they would prefer private, so maybe they could explain why.
Yeah, feel free to either speak up or elaborate a little bit in on chat. That's also fine. So yeah, for a bit of context on why I even put read only there, I meant read only in the way that anybody without the role can still read the discussions, and the people with the role can type in that channel. In theory, that simplifies things, because if you do a vote, everybody that can type in that channel can just type, well, what they would vote. Then again, most likely we'll take the voting outside of the Discord channel itself. Yeah, so far no elaboration on the private preference. I think in the background of what we're trying to do, like opening up the group of people with decision-making power, that kind of gets closed off if you make it private. Vanessa, go for it.
When you said, oh, we probably take the decision-making vote off of Discord, where do you see that happening, do you reckon?
Yeah, great question. That's basically what the last sentence on the slide refers to. Keep it simple.
Fair play.
So first of all, I mean, having a poll in Discord makes perfect sense, and if you get like everybody to actually, if it's a yes or no question, to vote, it can be perfectly fine, I feel. Something we did earlier was like send an SNet test token, I think was the name. The voting experiment Felix did. That did bump into some issues. Like basically based on this list, we can send all of the people on there. We can send them a token, and then we could link to a voting portal. It would require you to have this token in your wallet. We have all the wallet information. Should work. There were, however, some practical implications, like ledger support on that voting portal. That was iffy. At best. And I don't want like, technical stuff, issues to be blocking people from being able to vote. So, yeah. But yeah, again, I would be very open to experiment. It looks like the first thing that's going to be up for approval would be the budget. I think we can get away there with simply asking people for objections. If there are objections, deal with them until they are not there, and then approve. So that doesn't really need like an actual yes/no vote. Then again, we might bump into topics where we will need them. Sharing comments, it could be nice to have a poll in here and we just fill in. Then you mean specifically on the on the how to deal with that channel? On any matter? Yeah, sure. Makes me wonder what exactly, to be honest. Let me quickly hop back to the list of people, just so people can verify that they are indeed on there, or maybe not. As I mentioned, there's been some late joiners. As I mentioned when I showed this, this is just the output of the database, right? It's not final. It will be final before next week. So during the town hall, we can establish the final list. Yeah, Vanessa calling out rather than voting using consent or consensus. And yeah, for sure. I think we did so in the past already, and I think we'll keep doing that. It really depends on the topic in a way. Yeah.
Peter, are you going to hold town hall next week?
I think that will be pretty hard. Good question. It's also on the next slide. But yeah, that's gonna be very tricky with the BGI schedule and combining that. I think we should have a town hall, but it would be very open to for anybody to step up and have a go at hosting. It's coinciding with the last town hall of the month, which we so far one time only, but we did plan on keeping that as a tradition to reserve that for workgroup updates. Let me actually. It is part of the next topic of the meeting, so I would like to kind of, for now, have a check on this topic. Are there any thoughts, additions, comments, complaints? Anything on this topic of the core contributor list? Please feel free to share.
Are you doing away with the label of ambassador? Would be my
pretty
question.
Much it doesn't serve any purpose anymore, I think.
So next week when we go to BGI, do we put on our business cards core contributor?
I thought you were asking about the Discord role specifically.
Oh, no, I'm specifically in IRL.
No, I would keep saying that personally.
Okay,
I mean, we're
just
also in the
asking.
middle of renaming the whole program, maybe.
Well,
So
that's why maybe it's a devil's advocate statement or question.
no, I think it's simplest. Like in a way, like this whole process, as you're well aware, was dragged out over time. And one of the things to, well, have it less drag out, at least, was for me personally, at least, to not consider the whole naming situation of this role. And yeah, that still needs to be sorted. That doesn't change.
Fair enough.
Sorry?
I said fair enough. Not to delay things or hold them up.
No, and then even when trying to speed up things, before you know it, it's 3 weeks later, and here we are. It goes very fast.
Well, the reason I asked if you're going to hold town hall next week is because you made a statement that by next town hall, this list will be tombstoned. That's not exactly how you said it, but so I was just wondering if we're not having a town hall next week, how will that get done?
I mean, pretty much it would be like how to say, like an announcement kind of thing. So I think we can do that text-based in theory. I'm not sure if anybody feels otherwise. Walter, go for it. Walter, you're muted. I'm not sure if you're.
Apologies. Is there a voting record as to approve this method and to accept this list? Is there a voting record of who voted and how?
No.
This is not good, man. I mean, we're not doing governance in any sort of proper way. Basically, to me personally, as a student of such, I'll go along just because, but this does not constitute any sort of decision. You cannot have a democratic decision without a record of the decision. Simply saying, here is a list, just doesn't cut it.
Well, we had quite some discussions on how to establish this list and multiple weeks of discussion.
Very simple. You have just like you already conducted 3 votes, that there are voting records for 2 of them during 23, where a majority of the 9 ambassador role holders. For example, with 7 participating, 6 voted for an approval. Like I said, not having that, I have to view it as an opinion of somebody who posted that Discord message.
I didn't get that last part. Somebody proposed a Discord message.
No, it's
sorry.
currently the way it appears to anybody who is not listening to this, for example, now. TiVo published a list, and that list's validity is it's TiVo's opinion. You gotta hear from and you verbally expressed concurrence. I mean, like, otherwise there is just no democratic process that's visible. It's just some document handed down by some members of some Politburo. You gotta respect the democratic process.
Fair. One thing, tiny comment, Vanessa, I do see your hand. One tiny comment there. In theory, after the coming week of potential manual additions to the list, we can have a vote by the current people with the ambassador role. That being said, we would be completely stuck if it's not getting accepted. And so far, none of them have indicated any problems during this whole process over the past time. But I do agree it could be a nice thing to have and to have that trace. Vanessa?
If it's not one member, one vote, and it's a consensus, then you have to say this is a list of people who participated, and let's say nobody objected. Whichever way you produce a decision in a group, at the minimum, you have to publish who was present. Otherwise, I mean, the only validity is the author of the message in Discord, and now you verbally confirm it. I mean, it's not, I understand the outcomes. I'm saying, you gotta respect the process.
I mean, I take your point, Walter, but I've got to say it really wasn't a list that is TiVo's opinion. There were criteria shared for weeks now about, how much participation and how much.
Vanessa, I'm
No,
not
can
questioning
you let me
the
finish, please?
honesty.
Would you
I'm-
mind letting me finish? Thank you. Yeah, so those criteria have been shared, and everyone who's interested seems to know about them. So it's definitely not TiVo's opinion. He actually queried the records to find out who met the criteria. And also, in terms of a decision-making process, I think what we're doing is kind of a consent process. TiVo has published the list that is generated that fits the criteria that people have said they go for. And if people look at that list and go, oh God, no, that's not what we intended at all, then they'll say, no, we don't consent to this. So I don't think it's necessarily a good idea to have every decision made by a majority vote. And particularly, I don't think it's good to do this one on the basis of a vote from the ambassadors. If a country is deciding to become independent from a colonial power, they don't just go to the colonial power and go, oh, do you vote for us to be independent? What they do is they go, let's broaden it out to everybody who might be involved. So that's why.
Okay, so you're saying
vote
right
what they're
now
doing.
we're a colony that does not have a process? I thought this was already a democratic process.
Sorry, what did you say? I
Right
didn't
from
hear what
the
you said.
start. You're likening us to, not being a
I'm
democratic
likening
public.
non-ambassadors to that situation, and obviously it's not a very tight analogy, but I'm just trying to say that you don't go to those who have already got power and ask them, is it okay if other people also have power?
So this is a revolution.
No, I don't think so.
If you did not already conduct 3 proper votes with records published for 2 of those, I would accept your argument. However, whoever participated was well aware of the proper process and has chosen to ignore it.
Yeah. You see, you're defining what the proper process is, and I think there are many definitions of what
There
could be
is
the proper process, and I
precedent.
definitely think that a consent
There is
is one of them.
precedent.
Just because we've made a decision one way in the past doesn't mean we have to make every decision in the same way in the future.
Okay, so there is no system. It's just whatever, whoever, right? So okay,
No, it's
now
like what
we
Peter
have
said earlier.
two
It probably
verbal
depends on the
confirmation.
topic. It probably depends on the topic of the decision.
Yes, this
How
is the
we make
most
decisions.
crucial decision, the transition in the governance system itself.
Yeah, so maybe we should do something a little bit more inventive than just a majority vote, which we
Okay,
know
when we
excludes
now in the
people and doesn't
museum
reflect
look at
preference very well.
the United States Constitution 240 years ago, there are still the signatures of the individuals, and we have the exact dates of the ratification. This is what makes it last, is that there are records.
I think we
Not
should hear
having
from
that,
some
it's
other
not a
people as well.
democracy. It's
I'm
just
not-
somebody saying
I'm
something.
not particularly keen to emulate the US, particularly. So I think we should hear from some other people.
Okay, so you'd rather have the Politburo saying now one written record and two people confirming verbally out of
No, that's not
9
what's happening.
ambassadors.
So, you know.
No, you're not running a democracy. You have no respect for transparency and any sort of record. I'd love to see 5 out of
No, that
the
isn't true.
holders of ambassadors confirm unequivocally that they concur. Without that, there is no decision. I did already ask for specific records that went into making this decision. Until such time, I will not accept any of it. Because like I said, it's not about opinions. This is
It's
about
not, you're right.
respecting what democracy means worldwide.
Why would you not want to engage in a consent process on this? Why do you feel it has to be a majority vote?
Because it's the one system that's time tested, going all the way to the democracies in Greek city-states 2,400 years ago. Everything else has been found to be lacking in many
I think that's a
regards.
really poor reason to just say, oh, it's the oldest or it's the one that has been tested the longest. If we just did that, we'd never move on and we'd never develop new ways of thinking and new approaches, would we?
Yeah, let's do a Politburo. Absolutely. Let's
Okay, maybe
change the rules. See,
we're going a
whenever
little
you
bit in circles
change the
now.
rules, you basically put in question the very method of having rules.
Okay, so a couple of things. First of all, let's not have two people talk at the same time. That makes it very simple or very hard to follow for anybody. And I think we're getting to a bit of the extremes of the argument for some reason and going in circles there. I mean, we do have records of ambassadors voting, for example, voting away their role-based rewards. So I have no doubt in mind that it would be relatively simple to get every ambassador to agree on this. And I don't mind formalizing that, but at the same time, I do have to agree with Vanessa and see where she's coming from. That this is not just one Discord post, which would be an opinion. First of all, it's facts, it's database output of on-chain data, but it's also part of a month by now discussion. And nobody so far of that group of ambassadors has spoken up against the whole process. So therefore,
there are 3 records of prior formal votes. However, it came to be that this decision did not follow this process, indicates that there is no accepted process.
Yeah, sure. I mean, as you can see on the slides, like we're not gonna have by default always a vote, for example. We can do consent, we can do a consensus check, we can do a vote, can be majority, can
Then
be
you have to
majority,
record who was present at the time the decision that there is consent, consensus, whatever is in place, because typically people will not accept one person showing up and declaring that's a consensus as valid.
I understand where you're coming from, also because you've repeated it a couple of times by now. And as I said, I I would be open to having a formal check with the current people with the ambassador role to approve of that final list. Yeah, I'm not super
That
strongly
would be
against
a
that.
great way to make it into a proposal and hold a proper, to decide the process and then demonstrate holding on to it. You have to understand, this is not something we can just make up on the spot. Civil wars have been fought over it. People have studied it. I've only studied it for 3 years or so. Not doing it properly indicates lack of, valuing doing it properly.
Well, I would
So
say
why
we've
even
spent a lot
bother?
of time on this already, and we go very thoroughly through all steps of the process. We've spent weeks on the parameters and figuring out how to do it.
I did provide a boatload of feedback, which has been largely ignored previously, including in lists. I think a total that I provided was 11 suggestions, all 11 of which have not been accommodated.
Okay. Not sure what to say to that, to be honest. Happy to check them again if you want to, but yeah.
The definition typically roots on the phrase due process. You document the process and then you demonstrate conforming to it.
Yeah, fair. Tommy?
Retrospective, Walter and Vanessa are both right in their opinions. And Walter's statement about his suggestions haven't been accommodated is kind of spot on, but it's also an unfair comment, Walter. And it just brings it back, the debate that we heard and people interrupting each other. We've had that before, and we have a governance committee, a guild that has not been meeting or doing what it started out to do. And I think it's time that we resurrect that. And Walter, this is where your suggestions and the debate should be held, not here in town hall when we're trying to move on with things. The democracy, discussion for democracy or whatever other governance system we should have adopted when we were working on it are always welcome, I think, in any of the channels, but not really the purpose of town hall, in my opinion. So I would suggest we move this to the governance and have a wide open debate again. Let's get back into it. But I have to agree with Walter. The votes, the decision, there should be a process, and it should be recorded and it should be documented for transparency, whatever that is. But we're stuck here right now. So let's move on.
I think we could pretty simply, over the coming week, get that formalized with the group of ambassadors right now. Like, I don't mind pushing it to governance. At the same time, if that means we're still not having this very first initial iteration in a month from now, yeah, I would be a bit sad. Let's put it like that. Then again, I'm all for having a proper process.
It's actually trivial. Treated the proposal, hold the vote in the ambassador assembly tomorrow, publish the outcomes, and if 5 people present say yay, you're done. It really is trivial. And then document who was present, who voted yay, whether there were any no's. That's it. But you gotta invest yourself a little more, not into the outcome, but the process, because not having the process puts in question the outcome. I'm okay with the outcome. That's the thing.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, you made your case. All right. Quick check on the. I think Tommy happens to have his hand still up. That's an old one, probably. Okay. Quick check on the room. Maybe somebody that hasn't shared their opinion on this yet, or somebody who did. All right. So then, I do think it can be relatively straightforward to get this done also before next town hall. I doubt the vote would be swayed by potential manual additions, so I think I'll go ahead and take the liberty of making it as is with the clause that potential manual additions can be made. I don't think that will sway the vote. Okay. Yeah, and yeah, we can continue this endlessly, I think, but let's not, because looking at the clock, we do have 11 more minutes, and quickly try and share screen again. There's another topic I want to touch on. Doesn't have to take ages. Okay, so this we covered. And that's going to be on BGI 24. I want to touch on two topics there. Scheduling, just very practical. What are we exactly going to do? Which meetings will and will not take place? And workshops. We've had a request on the unconference side of things that it might be interesting for us as ambassador program. Yeah, to have some work group discussions, workshop kind of sessions with remote viewers of the event. And there will be moments that there's going to be work groups like live in Panama, and not all of that will be live streamed. But still, the audience watching might be very interested to also participate in a similar workshop. So yeah, pretty much want to put it to the room if there's anybody interested in hosting a workshop like that. Also completely fine if you don't want to immediately jump in. Tommy, go for it.
Yeah, I had a deep funding review circle and another meeting today, and we talked a little bit about BGI, and one of the things was ethics, and you know, not so much the partnership discussion that we're having in town hall, which will also be in this week's town hall for deep funding, but I think a question of AI ethics. And also for ambassadors, the ambassador program, we got stuck. We did a code of conduct, so to speak, or a resolution document, but we never really got into ethics. What are the ethics of our Singularity ambassador program? And what standards should we be held as we expand our roles through the core contributor system? And I have no reason to believe that should not be passed or proceeded on. But what, as we expand from the original 11 ambassadors, I think we're down to 7 of the original 11, but as we welcome and solicit more and more people, what are the ethics? And I think that could be a good workshop in person and online. I would like to work on that one if nobody objects, and I would like concepts and ideas and thoughts on what our ethical behavior should be held to.
I like that. I would kind of be inclined to ask to then pull it a little wider, like maybe not specifically to the ambassador program, because in a way the BGI Summit, it's also not really about SingularityNet. It's broader. But if you take the topic to online decentralized communities, I think you're spot on. If that makes sense, but I see you nodding a little. Cool.
I wanted to selfishly start narrow in this group and see if there was any traction for it, but you've already expanded it And that was kind of the concept is, you know, make it bigger.
Awesome. All right. Well, if anybody in the room does feel like hosting a workshop, or anybody watching this, I'll also make a bit of a post on Discord for those not in the call.
There is an conference, and I host a workshop there. And the thing is, like, maybe we can also host it simultaneously online. That's an idea. And I have all the material also on digital, and also I bring it to the, so we can play it like you know, hybrid. Yeah. And or alternatively, if it's not the same time of the unconference where there is that specific activity I hold, it's like a BGI fireside chat. I don't mind how do we call it, whatever you want, but yet why not? I mean, I would love to open anything to, you know, and be part of something that is open to and includes anyone who wants to be part of this discussion about. That's the goal. That's why we're doing the unconference. So absolutely. I mean, yeah. So
Okay.
yeah. I mean, and I think it would be good not to host just one person, but like we can co-host a few of us, just like you know, you understand me. So we can together co-host and decide on the topic and the format. And I just had a teachers training. I had 60 teachers, and I did really something nice for them about BGI and ethics. So basically what I did a mini BGI. So we went to the website on the agenda, and they were divided into groups. So there were like 60 or 70. Each group were 5 people, and the goal was to brainstorm, to choose one of those topics in the agenda. They had 10 minutes to brainstorm, and then come up with a conclusive question that was most intriguing for them to actually ask themselves. So it was not about finding solutions, because I had a very diverse audience, and I could say that 90% of them know, like, don't know anything about AI. They were kind of scared of it, and I'm talking about teachers, right? Educators, and yes, so the idea is not to come up with solutions and answers, but actually open questions and to feel more comfortable. Actually, that was the goal, to start feeling comfortable talking about AI. So yes, that's the spirit. Co-hosting, inviting a diverse group of people who wants to be part of this conference, and choose from the agenda any topic that they might feel they get inspired and they want to touch and elaborate and develop and so on. And then yes, after they just shared, everyone had like 1 minute to share. So this is how it worked. And yeah. So this is this mini BGI model I'm doing in different groups, and I think it can apply also. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, sounds good. I do see Essie in chat mentioning that she potentially could host. or co-host, I should say. I do think having a group together hosting, co-hosting, makes sense as well. I would suggest we take that conversation to there's a Discord channel on BGI, what's it called? Let me quickly check. So there's BGI General, pre-event challenges, and ambassadors at BGI 24. Let's use well, use either of those, then it should be fine. I would say ambassadors at BGI makes sense, but yeah, it's all good. All right. Looking at the clock, let's go somewhat towards wrapping up, but I do want to yeah, touch in a little bit on the schedule side of things, because practically speaking, there will be quite some people who usually lead workgroup meetings will be in Panama. And also there's the town hall. And for myself, right after the event, I do have 2 additional days I took off, just because I'm flying to the other side of the world and also wanted to see a little bit of that other side of the world. So for me personally, I won't be able to attend the town hall after the event as well. I'll be back at Thursday 7th on full working. Well, probably very jet lagged, but we'll see about that. So yeah, there's potential workgroup calls which need either to be well, that I would want to leave that to the workgroups how they deal with that. But maybe there's some people in here that have thoughts on that. And I would like for both the town hall next week and the week after, I would like to ask for volunteers on hosting. And also considering that for next week's one, in theory, we have the workgroup update session. So yeah, also noting that Devo and well, actually all of us pretty much. Yeah, so with Guillermo, Curtis, Tommy, Judith, and Devo in Panama, there might be quite low attendance on the workgroup update side of things as well. So quick check on the room. What should we do there? I would kind of like to keep that a thing, like last one of the month. At the same time, maybe BGI 24 is an exceptional situation for that.
I'm just thinking this might be mad, and maybe I shouldn't even suggest it, but what if we looked at people's meeting summaries and tried to look at what they've been doing and drafted about, I don't know, this is silly, when we'll have time to do this? Or would it be too much overhead for people who are in Panama to like leave a tiny little 100-word summary of what they've been doing and whoever's here can read them out? So it's on the recording? I don't know.
Any thoughts from those that will be in Panama?
You know, I kind of like the idea of, you know, whether it's Loom or some tool like that, and just quickly running through any of the agenda items that individuals are driving and just do a quick status update. And then maybe those get shown during the town hall. I mean, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, it's definitely one way of doing it. Alternatively, Judith is saying in chat, like, why can't we just do it the week after? Which we can. Well, as Vanessa's taking the words out of my mouth, yeah, we just only had one session so far on workgroup updates on the last town hall of the month, and in itself, I think that's a cool thing. But yeah, Tommy, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I think we punt for a week to use an American euphemism. Question, do we have access, or is there access to the ambassador's video, YouTube video channel? Can we grant that? Because I think it would be cool, since we all have smartphones, that if when we're down there, we do a few minutes summary, as Vanessa suggested, but we put it up on YouTube and get a little bit of visibility out of it. You know, hey, I'm Tommy Fry. I'm an ambassador for the ambassador. It's for SingularityNet. And today I met with Dr. Robert Hansen, and he promised that he's going to get little Sophia's in all of our hands so we can go out and educate the world. Hey, isn't that fantastic? And edit it and post it up on YouTube, so we have a little bit of a summary. And by the way, that was not a true statement. He has not promised little Sophia's for all of us, and I have not met him yet, but I intend to next week. So I'd like to document through videos, little vid stores, and maybe we could actually do a movie out of this.
Oh, we definitely can. We can, and we do have. There's some risks in live streaming, but at the same time, I'm not too worried there with the audience there. Like, there won't be people trolling us and getting us banned. But yeah, we could do live. So we could do recorded stuff. No problem there.
Is the robot capable of participating in a Zoom call? Maybe we can have a weekly talk to the robot session.
They're in high demand, I have to say. We don't have like Hansen in a way is separate from SingularityNet. So I'm not sure if they would have a weekly availability just for us. Yeah, could be interesting. Right. So do we or do we not do the updates next town hall? And is there a volunteer in the house for hosting the town hall? In all honesty, that's the most easy one to host, because you don't have to say anything. Pretty much you have to say, hello, this is person from work group. Tell us what you've been up to. William, go for it.
Sorry, just taking myself off of mute. I'd be happy to host if no one else wishes to step forward. I know some people will be unavailable.
Awesome. Yeah, that would, from my side, would be like there's going to be 2 town halls where I'm not going to be around. So I'm not sure. I think during summer holiday that also happened, and then it was a rotation. I'm happy either way. It just needs to be somebody, pretty much, and I think he would do a nice job.
There's not problems with starting the meeting, is there? Like access to the Zoom account?
There needs to be somebody logged into the ambassador account to start it. Yeah, that's the thing.
Well, if I'm the one to host, then I can certainly connect with you offline to get those details and make sure that I'm set up, Peter.
Yeah, should be fine. Yeah. All right. I'm struggling how to make this decision on whether next week would be updates or the week after that. Tommy mentioned, I forgot the term, a very American term, boarding it.
Punting. Punt it. Kick the can down the road like the U.S. government does on our fiscal responsibility.
Kind of got that Judith was also saying that. Curtis was saying, I think at least, to have done enough contributions by the work groups anyway. If only we had some proper process for making this decision on the spot in place, that would be awesome.
Well, we do have that. You just say what you're going to do because you're the head of this, and according to our past thing, is the head of each guild has the right to do what they want to do within their guild or work group or workshop, and town hall is yours. Make the decision. That's the process.
Not a fan of that, to be honest, but
I know,
yeah,
I'm
I know you know.
I'm laughing.
I'll run a quick Zoom poll.
William still has his hand up. I don't know if it's a legacy.
I will lower it.
While you're setting up your poll, Peter, if I may, two housekeeping items. Tomorrow, the Education Guild will have a meeting, and we probably will, for those ambassadors, or anybody, but for those going to Panama, we will more than likely post all of the videos that we've done on the spin-off project for you. So if you want to look at it, it'll be on the YouTube, but we have to make that decision as a group. We discussed it a little bit last week. We also will try to put up all the cards that we've done, the infographics, so you can do a quick study on each project, or while you're down there, so you're a little bit more educated. And this is part of the ambassador certification program. Second item of housekeeping, and this is a curious one. It was brought to my attention, I won't say by whom, that a lot of the YouTube videos and uploads are boring to watch because a lot of you don't show your face on screen. So when we're talking or when the videos, we can't read body languages of people, which makes the videos boring. So the housekeeping item is, if you could consider, if you have the potentiality to, put your face up on the screen like I am, so everybody in the world can see you and we're viewed as more transparent. This message has been brought to you by the Society for Full Transparency in the World.
That's quite an awesome society. Okay, so we've got 7 votes, 13 people in the call. You're gonna guess my next sentence, right? Please vote. There's one more. 8 out of 13 voted now. I can't vote myself, so it's actually out of 12. 9 out of 12. If we go with majority vote, the result can't be swayed anymore. Ten out of 12. 3 saying next week, 7 saying the week after. I think that's it for now. We'll go with the week after. That still leaves next week's tunnel and its agenda quite wide and open. In proper decentralized fashion, I'm sure it will unfold over the coming week.
Well, Will has a big responsibility now, Peter. He's got to decide the agenda. He's got to fill the topic, and he's got to get people to come watch him. So start dancing, Will.
I will. I'm excited. I'll dance off screen though.
Nice. All right. I think that kind of concludes it for now. Let's have a quick check in the room if there's any further mentions, callouts, short things we should touch upon during this session.
Thursday's town hall. part due of decision-making software, which is initially thought to be for the circles, but its use will grow. We have quite a Walter and Guillermo and Essa and a few others have done a great job on doing reports on the different software making tools out there. And a lot of it is institutional knowledge. We don't want to lose it. So Thursday is going to be a bit on partnerships. And it leads in a way into the ethics and decision tools and all the other stuff, but its real purpose is partnerships. Should we? No one was against it. Now we got to work out how. So please join Thursday, the town hall. Thank you.
All right. Then it's a wrap. Thanks all for being here and voicing your opinions, sharing them, and to be continued.